What's up, everybody? Welcome to tonight's Beyond the Ramp with Cowboy Preacher. He's in the house already. We had technical difficulties again with his um, computer, so we're working on that. Um, before I get into the Kraken Jigz stuff, I just want everything's listed down below. All the sponsors, Powercore Rods has the codes for the um, core series rods. Got Girls Fish Better with GFB Fishing. Now I think we got 3 more days. 3 more days until, or it might end tomorrow. I can't remember. Anyway, um, that's GFB Fishing 20 gets you 20% off of Session Series rods and the combos. Also, we have a new sponsor, which is Southern Sass Cosmetics. That's Southern Sass Cosmetics, all spelled out.com. And that's Boat Ramp 10 gets you 10% off the whole site for all you ladies out there. What did I put? Oh, there it is. So also down below, shout out as always to Okeechobee Rustic Company. Okeechobee Rustic Company, all spelled out.com. I always have my Go Bug Somebody Else mosquito spray. And you know, Preacher, got to have mosquito spray in Florida always. It's not oily and smells good and no bites. That's all I'm gonna say. Also, it's pumpkin season, you ladies out there. Pumpkin spice got the little candles, 10.99, little pumpkin candles. She has the bigger ones also. I just have her down there. I get nothing. I just like to help a small business out, and I use her laundry soap also. This is all natural stuff. The pumpkin spice soy wax. Everything's natural and good for you. Anyway, I'm gonna play a little something I put together real quick for Kraken Jigz, our first sponsor we ever had. We don't get nothing. He's a veteran-owned business. He's veteran himself, but right now through 3 more days. All proceeds, if you buy anything from him, goes to help people in North Carolina because he is in North Carolina. He was fortunate, but he wants to help communities around him. And like, here's one of his 220 jigs. These are the hooks. Any purchase y'all can make. He has this up. You can find him. Kraken Jigz, KrakenJigz.com. And his Boat Ramp 10 gets you 10% off. But I wouldn't even put that in. Just don't put it in. Don't worry about getting the 10% because this goes to helping people in the community. I just did this.
In a state, in another state, it's sad but true.
And don't get me wrong, prayers are to everybody in North Carolina, Tennessee, Georgia, and Florida. Look, I know people are hurting in North Carolina because they're not used to something like this, whereas in the last, 4 years, I mean, I've gone down and worked for a week in Cape Coral when Ian hit, even though we were without power for 7 days or
yeah,
and
like that.
and so yeah, but there is a lot of people. I got a buddy going Monday to start cleaning up in the Tampa area with his machine. But Steinhatchee, Horseshoe Beach, I'm just going to put this out there. I've been doing, if y'all haven't paid attention to my Cabbage Shack artworks, I've done a lot of, after Dahlia hit, last year or the year before. I think it was last year when Dahlia hit. Um, they had a tournament this year. They started it this year, and they asked me to do a trophy called, and the tournament's called Hooked on Horseshoe. And so they asked me to do a trophy and went for like $500
Wow.
and the proceeds. So not a trophy, just a piece. It's their logo done on. So I have a guy that I've done about 6 of these. I don't charge that much, but I may up the charge a little bit. And I've already talked with him. He's going down this weekend, and he has a guy down there that has some slabs of wood. So I'm gonna try to get wood from Horseshoe Beach, and I'm gonna do 4 pieces of art with the hooked on horseshoe and everything. Uh, Whatever I put the price on, it's when they sell all of it goes. I'm gonna send it to Hooked on Horseshoe. They don't even know about this yet.
Oh, okay.
So I'm gonna send it to Hooked on Horseshoe, and they can distribute the money as needed. So look out for that. If anybody wants that piece, you can contact me. But hopefully, if I can get the wood next week, I will be doing it next weekend. So anyway, um, that's I think that's it for just announcements and sponsors and all that. So anyway, uh, good evening, Dave Lightsey. Oh, Dave says he thinks I ought to do a Dave's TV artwork. That can happen. That can happen, Dave. I got some extra plywood here. I can make it look like a rough slab.
Okay. To Dave Lightsey. Okay. I want you to know, David, that Tuesday night, because I know y'all were checking out the beer. Okay. Understand that
Here
Tuesday.
we go, preacher. Okay.
Yeah. Tuesday night is his mama's night. So she'll listen to that. She let him get by with that mess.
Yeah.
Thursday night.
Well, no, that was Friday night.
Oh,
that
was it Friday night?
Oh yeah, we
when
did.
Y'all did the
Oh no,
no.
They put that out. That was a pre-record.
Oh,
so we did that
okay.
before we did mine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make any difference. That's his mama's boy.
Yeah.
Thursday night is his daddy's boy, so he kind of has to tone it down a little bit.
Yeah.
And as far as the technical difficulty, I'm the technical.
He is the technical. He is the technical. It gives me. It tests my my stance with Jesus. That's why it tests my patience. But
well, see, that's what it is. You need to learn, and your daddy's here to help you to learn.
Dave said his mama gets him all the time with his beer review. Yeah, Mama Lightsey. All right, so tonight is, now we're gonna get to that. Tonight is, are we role models? And so I got a lot to say about this because something hit me and I can't remember what it was, but I would just say that the first time I got upset, and now that I'm reading all the quotes and everything, it shows you how even back in 1993, the media manipulated and didn't tell you everything.
Oh, well,
okay.
Hello.
Okay. So the first time that got me on, and I had arguments with people when this came out, and I don't know, and because it was more prevalent when I was up in Alabama, because Charles was from Leeds, Alabama. So he was pretty much kind of right on the borderline of the same county we were in. Right. And so, everybody there knew Charles. And anyway, so Charles, my bad, Sir Charles Barkley. Let me
Sir Charles.
Yeah. And this is, I got this from sportscasting.com. So, I didn't put it down below. I'm just showing y'all. I printed it out. So this what not got me thinking about it, but once I did say, hey, we're going to talk about role models, I don't know where it came in at, but anyway. So back in 1993, Charles did a spot for Nike, and I don't know if y'all even remember this, but he took a lot of heat from it. And I mean, he don't know me. I don't know him. But I was like, what? Yes, you are. So Charles did a Nike spot, and it was Charles. It was his idea, and it was a commercial, a Nike commercial, and he said, "I am not a role model." And when he said that, and I'm like, dude, you are every. So I'm just gonna say my piece on it. Everybody, no matter who you are, I don't care if you are a homeless person on the street, you are a role model to somebody.
Absolutely.
If there's a group of 10 homeless people and one of them is a role model for another one. I mean, it don't matter how low you are a role model.
Even if you're the worst kind.
Yeah, worst kind, you are still a role model. You do not know who is looking at you at
No,
all.
No.
I mean, I've had people come up to me years down the road and say, "I appreciate how you did this and how you did that." Didn't even know I did
Had
it.
no clue.
Had no clue. No clue. So I just wanted to read these quotes because this is how uh, um, the media manipulates. Because all you knew of this, you didn't hear all the other quotes with Charles. You saw the spot. He says, "I'm not a role model," and every little kid playing basketball in Leeds, Alabama, wanted to be like Charles Barkley or Michael Jordan or whatever. So they looked up to him.
Right.
That's a role model. When
Right.
you fix your eyes on somebody, And he says, I'm just going to read his quotes and where I'll it's not that many. So the first time he says, the first time I got hit really hard was for taking that stance. There were some comments that defended me, but mostly I got killed on the internet. Just people in general. I'm okay with it though, because nobody in all this time has been able to convince me that it's wrong to tell kids to listen to their parents and not a basketball player they've never met.
So
Now, but we didn't hear that part.
that's exactly right.
We did not hear that part. And by him saying that also, it's like these people, I don't understand how they fixate on a singer, an actor, a politician, whatever it is. You can't fix your I just don't. They've never met you. They don't know who you are. You can strive to be like them, but to be your role model is a different.
Absolutely.
I don't know.
Well,
It's just different. I don't know. It's a catch-22 there.
well,
Yeah.
look, here's with the kid. Okay.
Yeah. Let
All
me
right,
finish.
Go ahead.
So I said, David, do you understand that Charles wanted to do this ad? Charles wanted to tell parents, I can't be a role model for your kid. Your kid doesn't know me. I can be an athletic hero,
Right.
but a role model should be a mom, a dad, an aunt, an uncle, someone the kid has contact with. David didn't buy that, and probably for now he's talking with David Stern, who on his show. He didn't buy that probably for about 15 or 20 years. David Stern was pissed off at Charles for saying,
Right.
I'm not a role model. And I'd see him every year at the All-Star game, and he'd tell me he still didn't like that ad. and that goes back to our forgiveness thing.
Yeah, but the thing about it, David didn't get it.
Yeah. So, yeah, but nobody got it because the media didn't tell all this. He said Nike didn't come to me with the idea to do the commercial about the role models. I went to Nike with the idea. I just thought we as a society need to do better in that area. So I asked Nike and Nike. So I asked, and Nike said, "Cool." So it was the "I am not a role model" campaign. So I want to go back, and he don't know me. If y'all want to tag him in it, fine. I don't care. I'm gonna say, Charles, I apologize for getting pissed at you because I didn't know everything behind your ad. I had no clue.
Right.
No clue that was all I heard was I'm not a role model. But what I like what he said was I can be an athletic hero,
Yes.
but not a role model.
You can be an example
Yes.
of what it takes to put in all the
Right.
thing
The
like
work
that.
and everything. So what you got to think about
Okay,
that?
so thinking about that and what Charles Barkley said, let me just give you a little background. Proverbs
Mhm.
Was written to give us a basic, I guess you'd say, common sense.
Yes.
Okay. As for Christians, Proverbs, we're required to follow what Proverbs has to say.
Right.
For an unbeliever, it may not be required of God because you don't believe in God, but it still will give you a better life if you live by that.
Yeah,
and everything of that is absolute truth. It might
right.
reveal itself down the road. So
Right.
here's what, and it's almost what Charles said. Proverbs 1.
Get on the mic.
Okay, Proverbs 1. Let me see. I think it's 7 through 9. How does a man become wise? The first step is to trust and reverence the Lord. Only few fools refuse to be taught. Listen to your father and mother. What you learn from them will stand you in good stead. It will gain you many honors.
So
if you listen to you now,
what was that verse?
That was
Proverbs.
Proverbs 7 through first chapter 7 through 9.
Okay.
Now we may not always listen to our mother and father,
Right.
Okay, and it says we ought to listen,
Right.
but I promise you, any child,
Yes,
will imitate them.
Yes. So
Okay.
that's where, now that you said that, let's go to Psychology Today. Because we always, if y'all haven't been following us on this Beyond the Rant with Cowboy Preacher, we always bring in secular thoughts on this,
Right.
and I always turn to Psychology Today because that's a known apparatus. Right. So this is role models and choices. So
Okay.
you were saying what was that last
It
part?
says if you want to listen to your mother and your father,
But you intimidate. Well, I mean,
it says
not intimidate.
let me say, what you learn from them will stand you in good stead. It will gain you many honors.
But they will all imitation.
Well, I
right?
said about imitating.
Yeah.
We don't always listen,
Right.
but I guarantee you, we imitate people.
Right. So that's where I'm going with. Let me find the story. All right. So what he's saying in it is called identification theory. That you identify with the parent.
Right.
That you might not obey them.
Right.
But you identify. It's an identification theory. What this man kind of is a short one, but he said, so the theory goes on to another passage from a current bestseller, The Young Man Who is the Wallflower. So this is what he says, and it goes with the identification. It's like when my doctor told me the story of two brothers whose dad was a bad alcoholic.
Okay.
All right. And I think there's a parable kind of like this in the Bible, but one brother grew up to be a successful carpenter who never drank. The other brother ended up being a drinker as bad as his dad. When they asked the first brother why he didn't drink, he said that after he saw what it did to his father, he could never bring himself to even try it. when they asked the other brother, he said that he guessed he learned how to drink on his father's knee. So I guess we are who we are for a lot of reasons. That was the quote from the book.
Okay.
So that's identification.
Right.
And yeah.
But all right. So on that same thought, I saw a picture of a courtroom, and of course, someone on here might, oh well, you're getting racist. No, it had 3 black men
Yeah.
in that picture.
Right.
One was a criminal defendant.
Yeah.
One was a lawyer.
Right.
And one was a bailiff or a police officer.
Yeah.
3 different, same race.
Yeah.
3 different men, 3 different choices.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So basically, when we look at a role model, it's an imitation of that which we find.
Right.
That we should, and that's why I said you can teach your child. Your child might not listen to everything.
Yeah.
But I promise you, they watch you.
Oh, yes.
And they will imitate what you
Right.
do. I didn't listen to my father much. When I was around him, I did.
Right.
But I promise you, I imitated exactly what my father imitated in his father.
Right.
And that was alcohol and all this stuff that I did. His father did. I did what my father did.
Yeah.
I'm the one that through Christ broke the cycle with you. But it didn't keep you from doing things that you shouldn't have been doing.
Right.
Okay.
But I wised up because I had broke that cycle that it didn't last.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So it says, Ecclesiastes, the end of it, he said, train up a child.
Right.
The way in which he should go. And when he's old or gets older, he will not depart from that teaching.
Right.
So when Charles is talking about a role model, yes, if he's an athlete, then imitate. If he says, okay, I practice 3 hours a day after school shooting.
Right.
That, in a sense, is a role model to follow or imitate.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
But the raising up and the instructions ought to be
from a parent.
From a parent. That's what Charles was trying to say. Hollywood. This what's her name? The singer. The
Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift. I am so sick.
Watch out! Watch out, Swifties.
I am so sick
I am
of that.
too. I am
as
too.
they kids use her as some kind of a role model to imitate.
Yeah.
And she is the worst thing in the world.
Yes.
And yet parents.
Oh yeah.
That ought to be
the mama
role model. The ones that child imitate. The parents are the ones that are egging this on.
Oh, the mama Swifties, they go with the daughters.
Oh yeah.
And the daddies. Don't exclude the daddies. I've seen you daddy Swifties. It's probably the same as the white men for Harris or some whatever crap. And we could go back to the alpha beta thing on that. Because every one of them I seen is anyway. That man, you about got me going. So the last little thing I had, and it goes into probably some stuff you want to talk about. I got this from Compelling Truth. It's a Christian based thing. So and it's talking about natural role models and how it goes from this to this to this to this. So it says, and you might want to look up Proverbs 22:6 for me. It says there are natural role models that occur in our lives. Parents are role models for their children's. That's Proverbs 22:6. What does it say?
Teach a child to choose the right path, and when he is older, he will remain upon it.
Yeah, just what you just said.
Yes.
But in the Living Bible.
Right.
All right. So other siblings are role models for younger.
Yeah.
All right. You hear that? You are role models for your younger siblings. Let's see. siblings for younger, older men and women in the church are role models for younger women in the church. That's Titus
Right.
2, chapter 2, 2 through 7.
Okay. Can I say something about that?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right.
Go ahead.
So the Bible says that the older women are supposed to teach the younger women.
Right.
I hate to say it,
Yeah.
but the older women, the Christian women,
Uh-huh.
has failed
The younger one.
women.
Oh, no doubt.
The older women, we have young girls that do not know how to dress modestly.
They don't know how to cook.
They don't have, but they don't
Yeah.
know how to dress
Oh, yeah.
modestly.
Right,
They don't
right.
know how to conduct themselves
As a lady.
lady.
Yes.
So the older women in the church were supposed to teach
Yes.
these younger women
Yes.
how to be ladies. Older men were supposed to younger men how to be men.
Yeah. So I mean, it's all the older women and men have failed society,
Right.
and that's why we are where we are.
Exactly. And for a Christian, an unbeliever, yes, you can understand that because they have all kinds. But as a Christian, if we have the instruction manual, the Bible,
Yes.
and it says this is what we're supposed to do,
Yes.
then it begins with us. It doesn't begin with my kid.
No.
It begins with me first. That's
Right.
what Charles is trying to say.
Right.
It don't begin with a basketball player.
Right.
It begins with a mom and daddy.
Or an actor or a singer or a politician.
Right.
And
And we'll have rest in peace. Oh, we hate that they passed away. We just loved them. The biggest alcoholics, whoremongers, and everything else.
Yeah.
And we just love them to death.
Yeah. Oh yeah. R.I.P. man. Rip. Rip. Yeah. Let me. And the pastors and the church leaders are role models for their congregation.
I don't. You go on, get something else.
Yeah.
There,
Yeah. Pastor
I don't want
Page.
to hear that.
But yeah, I think we're going. There's one guy I want to reach out to and say, hey, will you come on my podcast and I want to talk about. Anyway, we'll get to that. We should not just look for a Christ-like role model for ourselves, but we should also be evaluating ourselves to know whether we are a good role model for someone else to imitate. There is no age limit on being a good role model. Even young people are called to be models for Christ-likeness.
Absolutely.
So again, I'm going to read that again. We should not just look for a Christ-like role model for ourselves, but we should also be evaluating ourselves to know whether we are a good role model for someone to imitate. There is no age limit on being a good role model.
No, because Christ is the ultimate role model. Okay. He is the role model. He is the one you imitate. Now,
Right.
You can go and to those that have lost loved ones. I don't want to hurt your feelings or bust your bubble or anything, but Mama and Daddy ain't looking up there looking down on you. And you say that they're looking down on what I'm doing. No, they're not. They simply are not aware of you down here because they don't want to see what some of y'all do. Okay, they don't want to see where you go. Now, the reason I say this is because we get this from where it says, and there's such a great cloud of witnesses.
Yeah.
Okay, the great cloud of witnesses. Well, the witnesses are those that have gone before us, but left us that model
Right.
on which we should conduct our lives.
Right.
Just like Paul, when Paul was describing all the things that happened to him, shipwrecks, beatings, prison, on and on and on. Okay. That meant that through his suffering, through all of the things that Paul went through in his Christian life, because he made a stand for Christ, he was a role model
Right.
of what it means to be sold out to Christ completely. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If he said, I'm going to stand, as for me and my house, we're going to serve the Lord. Well, Paul said,
Yeah.
I did it.
Right.
And I was beaten. I was shipwrecked. I put in prison. All of this. He tells how many times he got whipped and everything else, but he wouldn't give up his relationship to Christ.
Yeah.
And that's why he said, you ought to be an imitator of. I was a role model for other Christians. 'Cause
Right.
if I can suffer, if he can give me the strength to suffer,
Right.
you have that strength too.
Right. Right.
So,
yeah.
now I want to get off on this thing to what we have today because I want to get it in. Folks, this mainstream media, and I hope y'all understand that what you see on the news, mainstream media and all that, is basically the people who live on the coast, around the coast of the United States. That's not true America.
Well, they're
Okay.
the mainstream media are the elite.
What they believe they are the
Well,
elite,
no.
superior.
Yeah, but the money they make,
Yes.
they don't have to worry about what me and you have to worry
Absolutely
about at
not.
all.
No, they don't care if gas goes up,
No,
groceries, it doesn't affect them.
They send somebody go get all their
But they
stuff.
will give
Anyway.
you a false perception of what America is.
Yes.
And so they're always saying, again, Hollywood, this, that, they're the role
Right.
model. No. If you want to have a role model in America, the true America, look at what's taken place and has taken place in the past about disasters.
Yes.
The Cajun Navy, for instance.
Right. Right.
Down in Louisiana. Oh, they just got together.
Yeah.
And you saw pictures of them carrying, okay?
Yeah.
Red, yellow, black, brown, and white.
Yeah.
It didn't make any difference to them.
Right.
And if you're looking for a role model of what to do in a disaster,
yeah,
don't look to your government for a role model. That's the last one you look to. What you look to is your neighbor.
Yes.
And a neighbor doesn't have to be the one just living next door to you.
That's right.
A neighbor is that Cajun Navy. And of course, I think you were reading about this guy that does it for
Kraken Jigz.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
he's setting an example.
Right. That's right. And I know for a fact, Bill, you probably remember, he was an ex-Navy SEAL, and he had the boat. Yeah, had the houseboat.
Yeah.
So Bill, every disaster that we've had in Florida, he has a place in Panama City. I don't know. He might be in North Carolina or even Tennessee right now, but every disaster, he gets a group of guys with chainsaws in his trucks, and they just go. Now he is in a position where he can do that, but he does it and doesn't want to be recognized for it. He just goes and does it. Now he may do a video and say, "Hey, y'all need to get your butts down here and help out."
Right.
But if you want to, we'll play this one guy, and we'll, if you want to keep going about, you were talking about they were unsung heroes as role models,
right?
And this is what these people are. One of the videos I got, it's 5 minutes long, and then the other one kind of reiterates the same thing. I mean, I could read articles on X and everything of the guys and what the government is doing to people trying to help. I mean, I seen McSweeney up there in Pell City, the car dealership, and Jamie was taking a video and seeing just stacks of cases of water and everything that they were getting together to send to either Tennessee or Georgia or wherever, because I mean Valdosta got killed. There was a strip mall that had been there for years and years and years, got taken down brick by brick by brick. Now I think a lot of that was tornadoes that broke out during that hurricane also. But anyway, go back to the unsung heroes. These guys, the guy in the video that we're going to show, it's 5 minutes long, but it's worth it to understand what's going on the ground. And these guys are from Florida. He'll explain who he is. he's a real estate broker, but he's part of a organization in Florida, and he even got his congresswoman, and he'll talk about that, to get helicopters up there, and how the federal government and everything's was trying to stop them when they first came up there.
Yes, yes.
And these guys, I mean, he'll talk about one of the guys has his own helicopter, a civilian,
Yes.
that is paying for it out of his pocket, that don't want any money in return.
And they
He's
were
just
going to arrest him.
no, not that
Oh,
one.
not
This
that
is another one. This is another one. So they just stopped them, but I mean, he did 4 refuelings in a half a day out of his own pocket. That right there is an unsung. That is somebody you should look up to, far as to help your fellow man. And
okay.
yeah,
Now, it's a Christian. I'm talking about somebody that names the name of
Yeah.
Christ. And I say this based on all the years of experience as a Christian. There ought to not, if they have Christ as their role model, if they have Paul, if they have John, they have all the ones, the biblical, even back in the Old Testament, it wouldn't give a second thought about helping someone.
yeah,
Okay, we want to give accolades to these people, and it's just like me when I say, should a man that got married, took a wedding vow, should he, or a woman, stay faithful to his wife? He should be praised for that. Why? He made a vow.
that's right.
Okay.
That's
Why would you give it? Oh, he's been a faithful husband all these years. Well, duh, he's supposed to be, or she's supposed to be a faithful wife.
right.
It's something that you made a vow that you do. Well,
Right.
when you accept Christ, you say, I have accepted Christ. He lives in me. Therefore, he ought to express himself through me. So it shouldn't be a second thought about whether you help your neighbor or not.
Right. Right.
And your neighbor can be anything. Now, I use this as an example. I was never aware of it, but you and Missy grew up in our home. Okay.
Right.
And y'all weren't the perfect children, didn't do everything we
What?
said and everything.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. I don't want,
Please.
well, my kids did, but your mama's did.
I got you. I got
Okay.
you. Yeah.
All right. So I know you have gathered stuff during a hurricane. You have shared it with other people, all that. Missy has been there in Alabama when the tornadoes were there. She
Yes.
helped gather. She helped do this and
Yeah.
do that. Both of you kids did that without being told.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was because it's in you to do as a Christian.
Right.
And it's because you saw your mom and daddy do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So somebody asked me about, man, I know you're proud of. No, they did what they're supposed to do.
Right.
We want to say, oh, I play what you should say. And a lady in church taught me this after all these years. If you're not proud, because pride has nothing to do with it. God is pleased and you're pleased.
Right.
You're pleased with what you do. Okay.
Right.
You're not proud because it's something as a Christian.
And even a moral person, even
a moral person,
even if
is.
you are not
Right.
a Christian, a moral person will give of himself to help others.
Right. And the
Yeah.
Bible says you love, how they'll know you're a Christian
Yeah.
is you love your neighbor as you would yourself.
Right.
You love,
Right.
you do it. And again, the neighbor may be in Carolina.
Right.
It's
Right.
not
Right.
next
Right.
door. He's talking
right.
about fellow human beings
That's right.
have needs.
And what all this usually does is bring Americans together. Americans. I didn't say black, white, red, yellow. Americans.
Mhm.
Everybody's an American in disasters.
Oh, have you read about all these countries that are sending all their aid over to the United States for Carolina and Georgia? No,
Oh,
I ain't
no.
either.
What?
I ain't either.
What? All the money we give? You mean Ukraine has not sent some of that money
man,
back?
Ain't nobody sent any money over
I mean,
here.
I saw a stat today. I think Kamala and Joe offered $750 to everybody in need in North Carolina.
Uh-huh.
But Ukraine people got $2,900 each.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
But-
And again, if y'all didn't see my post on my personal page on Facebook where FEMA announced Wednesday. Just so you know, I know this has all come up because we got ticked off reading all this today, but FEMA announced Wednesday that that they're running out of funds. So if another hurricane hits, they don't know what kind of funds. But yet, I posted where all their funds have been going this year and last year and the last 3 years, and it's almost $1 billion has been going to cities that are overrun with immigrants and illegal people that should not be here, that they brought in $1 billion, but FEMA's running out of money to help people in North Carolina, Florida, and all that.
Which is the point.
Mm-hmm.
That FEMA, the government, if we need to stop trying to depend on the government will always interfere.
Yes.
And with those that are trying to help their fellow man.
Oh,
the government will come in, try to stop them because they want absolute control. But you can't control those that care about their neighbors.
Yeah. Yeah. And I will tell you this, I'm going to reach out to him. I mean, what I've learned in the last 4 years, all they can do is say no. But the guy that wrote the article, he said, I can tell you from all the stories I've been hearing in North Carolina, the government's stopping supplies of people trying to bring in. He said, I don't know for sure. I can't verify that, but he can tell you what happened when Irma went over the Keys, and they were one of the first people down in the Keys. And that article is so long, and it's all about money to the government, and they won't let people in that's not on the vendor list.
Oh, that happened in Haiti with Bush and Clinton.
Yeah. So anyway, I want to play this.
Yeah, go ahead and play that.
This guy, his information is down below if you want to follow him on Instagram. I think his name's Jonathan Howard. But this will speak for itself.
I want to make this video, but it is literally a matter of life and death for the people of North Carolina. So my name is Jonathan Howard. I'm a member of the Florida State Guard Special Missions Unit, and I'm also up here with Aerial Recovery, a nonprofit. I came up here on Sunday with Aerial Recovery before we even got activated. We flew up here, and then we got activated, which is great. I have my team up here working as well. Here's the problem. I'm going to tell you everything that's happening from the ground, what I'm actually seeing, because what they're telling you is complete bullshit on the news, and these politicians don't have a fucking clue, and they're lying. And I'll say this now, and I'll say it at the end of the video. The only thing I need from this video is helicopters. If I have helicopters, I can save lives. Without helicopters, I can't reach these people. It doesn't matter how many chainsaws and trucks I got, I can't get to them. They're 10 miles in, 20 miles, 40 miles in the mountains. There's no way to get with them or even communicate with them. I am literally flying around in a civilian helicopter looking for SOS messages carved in the mud or painted on the ground, and we're dropping down and saving them. What got me fired up about this was yesterday, me and my team did the rescue of that 11-day-old baby. And all these government officials and social media, they're showing that video, that pictures and video of that rescue, and claiming that like they have some like government helped with that. And I mean, even USA, I think it was USA Today, wrote an article about it saying it was a Florida National Guard that went and got it, like with a helicopter. No, it was me, my buddy Charlie, and a civilian named Zeb with his own personal helicopter out of Wilmington, North Carolina. Like without that civilian, that baby would be dead. And the old lady we went and rescued after that, she'd be dead too because she had 1 day left of oxygen. No one was going to go get them. I will tell you, when we go up in the air, I probably see 40 civilian helicopters, and I might see 2 Blackhawks, National Guard, military, whatever they are. That's it. No one's out there doing rescues. I have my entire team up here from Florida right now, and they have no ability to go rescue these people other than what they can drive to. And the people that are in dire need, they're out in the mountains. They are completely cut off. Now, I will say, I spoke to my congresswoman down in Florida, and she's a badass, and she made a bunch of phone calls, and now we got 2 contracted 60s coming up here tomorrow, which is great. I love that, but like, I still don't understand why we don't have more helicopters. Like, we'll get a lot of work done with that, but there's no military. There's no one's doing nothing. It blows my mind. And they're not even allowing people to see what's really going on. One of our friends yesterday, they were actually escorting CNN down at Lake Lure, and they wouldn't even let CNN, the sheriff department would not let them go videotape the bad areas, how destructive it is. I don't know why they don't want to show you all that, but I mean, it is bad. I should also say, when I flew here on Sunday, they actually stopped us from going in, the sheriff department. And it was because of a bunch of politics that they were claiming was the Speaker of the House of North Carolina that was preventing us from even going in and trying to kick us out, which I have clarified today with North Carolina politicians that reached out to me, good on them, and they were like, that's complete bullshit. Speaker of the House has nothing. He wants you guys there. But this is the kind of political BS that is happening here right now. Like, everyone's trying to be in charge without taking any type of action. Nobody wants to coordinate with anybody. Everybody wants to pretend like they're being the hero while these people are literally fucking dying in the mountains. And these people, like I'm saying, these people are limited medication, they're running out of oxygen, and there's no one going to get them. The most effective way I have found to go find these people is by getting in a helicopter and flying down the rivers and roads and looking for SOS messages or people waving us down. And then we drop down and get them. We have all these people here. We have law enforcement, we have State Guard, National Guard. They have no way to go get these people. Yesterday, when I was at the Asheville airport refueling, which, by the way, the civilian is paying all this out of his own pocket. He's not even looking for a reimbursement. I think we did 4 refuelings yesterday. And that was like just in half a day's work. We're in Asheville, and I saw 2 Air Force helicopter 60s. And I knew they were PJs, just looking at them. And I went up to them, like, hey guys, like, what are y'all doing? And like, this is what you need to be doing. This is how I'm finding people. And they're like, we can't go. We're waiting on Title 10 orders. And I'm like, what? They can't get any authority. There's military helicopters all over here sitting on the ground, and they can't do nothing. Even my JSOC boys in Fayetteville, they can't get orders to come out here. It is just the most disgusting thing, and they're killing these people. And I don't know why they're doing it. I don't know what kind of conspiracy. I've heard so many things, whatever you want to come up with, but they are literally allowing these people to fucking die in the mountains right now because we can't get helicopters. They got money for everything else in the fucking world right now, but if they could just get us helicopters, we could fly out there and rescue these people. So I hope this video goes viral. I hope these politicians get fired. I hope people get pissed off. They'll probably kick me out of the state of North Carolina for doing this, but you know what? I don't care, because if I can save one more life for it, it's fucking worth it to me.
And sorry about all the language, but he did say, I try not to cuss in my life, but this has made me so mad.
Well, I just saw on today, there was a guy that did the exact same thing.
Yeah.
He's civilian. He owns
Yeah.
his own helicopter. He went in and brought a mother and father out.
Yeah.
There was a son left. I don't know how old he was, but brought the mother and father. They didn't want him to go back in. Fire chief.
No, he left his son.
Oh, he left
his son with somebody, with a survivor.
Yes.
And
yes.
he took the people back, and the sheriff stopped him and said, if you go back, I'm going to arrest you. And all he did was go back and get his son. And then they finally gave him the okay, like a day or 2 later.
Yeah. Yeah.
But on him, and I've already said my piece, he should have said, okay, got in his helicopter and went and rescued people and dropped them off somewhere else until they did arrest him.
Okay.
But anyway, that's
So here it comes now. I know we kind of
hey, let me play this one more guy, and then we can finish up. We got about 10 minutes left.
They're in the way. They are directly interrupting our ability to conduct missions and operations. And I'm not going to disparage anybody, because we are trying to work within partner relationships, both government and non-government entities within state and federal and county. I went to put a couple of people into a hotel last night, and they had a security guard at the hotel. And they said, "Oh, we're so sorry. The entire hotel has been booked for federal employees." And I was like, "No, I have people that would just pull it out of a mountain that are living out in the hills, and there's not a place for me to put them because we have federal employees that are staying in the hotel. I slept in this white car last night. I smell like foot and death right now." as does every single person on our team. Not a single one of us slept. We got done maybe at 3:00. The moment the sun was up and we could fly helicopters again, we were back in the air, and we have not stopped. And I was like on the fence about trying to get on this program or not. I want people to understand how incredible this organization is, Save Our Allies, and all the work that all of these volunteers are doing. But people, this is biblical level devastation. This is apocalyptic, the things that we see out there.
So, I mean, that right there gets me more fired up than anything. That
Yes.
he couldn't put people that probably been. There's some people that they found like 20 people that hadn't had anything for 6 days, no water, no food, no nothing, and then you're gonna say the federal employee has to sleep in the
Yeah,
hotel
yeah.
and not you.
Well, that when Haiti had that
Right,
thing,
right.
okay, they brought in a cruise ship.
Yeah,
That's where the federal people stayed. That's
Yeah.
where all the people.
Yeah.
Poor Haiti people,
yeah, oh yeah,
and just a kind of a thatch up. But anyway,
yeah,
here's what I want to say about that. As a Christian,
yeah,
regardless of what these people do,
yeah,
are opposed to it and everything else, as a Christian, your role model is Christ, and Christ loved people. He cared about people. That's why he did healing.
right,
It wasn't just to validate his ministry. He did it because the Bible said he was moved with compassion.
yeah,
And as a Christian, if you have Christ in you, then you're moved with compassion for these people.
yeah,
You and I are so blessed to be sitting here
yeah, yes,
talking right now.
yes,
Okay. And so if there's someone that needs help, America is the most giving country in the world. They do
Yeah.
more for
yeah.
people around the world. But as a Christian, we shouldn't have second thoughts about this,
right,
because we have the Spirit of Christ that lives in us, that compels us
yes,
to do things. I mean, look, we will sit there and vote for these jaybirds to put them back in office.
Yeah.
These elitists,
Yeah.
these are ones that get up there. We think so much of them and everything else.
yeah,
Those are not to be our role model.
No.
Those are not the ones we are to imitate. I promise you, if you look up on giving,
yeah,
it is the more conservative people
yes,
that give more than any liberal does.
Yes.
Okay. But if you want to imitate someone, look around and see how they're helping other people,
right,
what they're doing, what sacrifices they're making.
yeah, and I mean, and you know, we're almost done, but you know, we talked about at the beginning. You know, it's the parents' duty to raise their kids right, to show them how to live morally, how to you
Right.
know, instruct them on how to be a good person.
Right.
Okay, so we talk about the kids, but every day in your life, you are a role model at work. Somebody is looking at you and the way you
Absolutely.
work, and it might not be good. And that's where when I read that one part where it says, you know, yes, we can have a Christ-like a role model, but we ought to be looking at ourselves to see if we really are. Do people see how to be morally, you know, live morally, looking at us and how we conduct ourselves? And I'll be honest. I mean, I am not perfect. You come to a construction site and it's a bad day. Yeah, me and Jesus have a lot of. I mean, we might not talk during that hour-long rant or whatever, but yeah, and you know, I have to go and apologize sometimes when I get just in the flesh.
Okay.
So
And addressing to that.
yeah,
Okay. The witness, or and we call it a witness, okay,
Mhm,
or
mhm.
a testimony.
Right,
That's why
right,
we call
right,
it
right.
a testimony for us.
Right.
As okay, I'm a Christian. If you're willing to, if there's some guy that without attention, you don't need your little camera to go
Right.
over and make sure you
Right.
videotape
Right.
it. But you see someone in need,
Right.
you take out $10 or you go
Right.
in and buy him a bag of
Right,
hamburgers
right,
and bring
right.
it out to him, okay? And somebody sees you. You don't make an issue out of it. You
Yeah.
don't videotape, tell
No.
everybody on Facebook what
Yeah.
a wonderful person you are. You just do it. And someone is looking at you,
Yeah.
maybe a child.
Yeah.
They're looking at you and they're thinking, wow, that's their role model.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
But let's take a thug that's selling drugs and everything else, and the guy is there just wants something to eat, and he spits on him and walks away.
Yeah.
And because he got to blame all that
Yeah.
kind of stuff, and the kid's watching that and say, "Well, that's the way you're supposed to." Man, less than you the man now.
Yeah.
See, I
Yeah.
don't have time to wait.
Yeah.
You're a role model, good
Or
or
bad.
bad.
You're a role model.
You're going to be a role model.
Yeah.
Now, as far as a Christian is concerned, no, David
Yeah.
was a rascal.
Mm-hmm.
He did a lot of things that God
Mhm.
wasn't pleased with. Yet Jesus came through his line and lineage. But Chronicles says, and Acts says he was a man after God's own heart. And
Mhm.
I sat there for years. I struggled with that because I'd read the life of David and
Yeah.
adultery and all that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. And God said, with the exception of his adultery and the
Yeah.
murder of Bathsheba, whatever I asked David to do, he'd do it.
Right.
That's why he was a man after God's own
Without
heart.
question.
He without question. If I told him to do it, David was going to do it or
Yeah.
die.
Yeah.
And so we're not the perfect people.
No.
We never will be the perfect people. But we do know in our hearts what God wants us to do. And when we do that, somebody will see that.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't ever excuse what we've done,
Right.
but it's just like, I give it. A guy talked to me. I was standing out convenience store one time years ago, and ICB root beer is it
Mhm,
ICB and cream
mhm,
soda,
Mm-hmm.
long neck.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm standing with my finger in my pocket
Mm-hmm.
and that long neck
Mhm,
root beer
mhm.
hanging down between my fingers.
Mhm.
Old boy walked up to me and said, "Old habits are hard to break, ain't you, preacher?" Because that's why we used to stand around with the beer hanging down.
Because you were cool.
Yeah. And yet, but he knew. Here's the thing I always tell people when they ask me, well, what if somebody does something and doesn't do anything like that? I said, well, if they called you at 3:00 in the morning and said, I really need you,
Mm-hmm.
I really need you,
Right.
would you get up and go? That tells everything about you.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of person you look for a role model.
Right.
These people up in Carolina, he may be an abuser. I don't know.
Yeah.
He may be an alcoholic. She may be an adulterer. She may be all that, but they have a need.
Right.
And you don't give it second thought. You do what's need to be done.
Right. All right. Well, that's it for tonight. I appreciate y'all tuning
y'all.
in. Yeah. And yeah. So I'll be on tomorrow night. Don't know exactly what we're gonna do, but we're gonna be on tomorrow night.
Hey, we're still looking for subjects if y'all want to talk about it.
Our email is down below, or just message us here and let us know if there's anything you want us to talk about. We would appreciate it. So till next time, just think tomorrow's Friday. So we're going to leave with this and appreciate it.